Hello and welcome to the Top Corner European Roundup Show. It is the 24th of December 2019. Of course, it is Christmas Eve, so I hope that you've all had a fantastic start to your holidays so far. And there's not been a massive amount of news that has come out today throughout European football, but there's been a couple of important pieces of news here and there. So without further ado, let's get into the first news story of the day, and it comes from Italy. Once again, it is another piece of news from Italy. There's been a lot going on there in the recent days, but the good news is that Fiorentina have yesterday, officially announced a brand new manager, and the name of their new manager is Giuseppe Iacchini. The 55-year-old Italian has joined the side on a contract that runs until June 2021. He's known distinctively for wearing a baseball cap when he does manage his sides, and has been formerly at clubs like Sampdoria, Udinese, and most recently Empoli, which he resigned from, I believe it was in March time of this year. So since then, he's not been at a club since let me just check. Yep, it was March 2019, which he was sacked by Empoli. But he joins Fiorentina. It's going to be interesting to see how they do. As I said in the episode a couple of days ago, Fiorentina are in a major point of rebuild. There's a lot of work to be done at the club, and it's going to be interesting to see how Iacchini does at quite a pretty decent sized club in Serie A, if we're being truthful. They're not a small club, but there's certainly work to be done, and it'll be interesting to see here how Iacchini does. He's respectively known for being quite a defensive manager. He's opted quite a lot for the 3-5-2, so it'll be interesting to see whether Fiorentina adapt to that, or whether Iacchini changes his game up to take on a much bigger side than some of the clubs he's worked for in the past. But we now go on to a piece of news regarding Edinson Cavani. You will have probably seen it was trending on Twitter about the early morning/afternoon of yesterday. But a respectable Italian journalist, Gianluca Di Marzio, yesterday tweeted out that reportedly PSG striker Edinson Cavani had agreed a deal to sign for Atletico Madrid. The contract he signed was a 3-year deal. Now, it's aware to a lot of people that the Uruguayan striker's deal at PSG does expire at the end of the current campaign, and it's also quite clear that they're not interested in renewing the player's contract. He's seen out of favour at the club under Thomas Tuchel this season, and Atletico Madrid, who are having a couple of attacking issues themselves, see him as the perfect player to solve those attacking woes. Of course, they've got the likes of Morata and Diego Costa, but they're not firing under Diego Simeone, and the side have struggled in recent weeks to pick up points. It's interesting to see whether this is true or not. Obviously, Edinson Cavani in the past has been linked to the likes of the MLS, and it would probably be his final big move in terms of a top European side. He is, of course, getting on with age, but he's always been a pretty good striker on his day. He was fantastic at Napoli. He's been fantastic at PSG. In fact, he scored 136 goals in 194 games at PSG as of current. But it'll be interesting to see how he does at Atletico Madrid. He's never played in Spain before, and he's 32. It could be a massive jump for the player, but of course we will find out in the next coming weeks/months whether that does materialise. But we go from one player moving clubs to one player that has actually left a club, and it's through his own decision. Keisuke Honda, you might know him, ex-CSKA Moscow, ex-AC Milan, Japanese attacking playmaker, has left Dutch side Vitesse Arnhem after just 6 weeks of being at the club. The Japanese midfielder made 4 league appearances and didn't register a goal or an assist for his side. Honda did state that his failure to turn around the club's fortunes was the reason for his departure. Vitesse currently sits 6th in the Eredivisie, 11 points from the top spot. Their manager Leonid Keisuke did leave the club back in late November, and he was the manager that brought Honda to the side. Of course, a couple of months ago, he did put out on Twitter a plea for Manchester United to sign him, and of course, that never materialised. Honda is certainly getting on with age. He's not the player he used to be. He's getting quite old now. And it's safe to say, I would assume it will probably be time that the player retires pretty soon. He is, of course, 33 years old, and he has played at the past at the likes of AC Milan and Moscow, which are the two prevalent clubs that he's played for in recent times. But maybe one more club for Kazuki Honda before he retires. We honestly don't know, but he didn't do well at Vitesse, and it's safe to say that he'll want to sweep that time under the rug pretty quickly. We've gone through the news really, really quickly today. As I said, there's not really a great deal of massive news that's come out over the last 24 hours, but the last piece of news that I've got is a statement that the Premier League yesterday released regarding this racism situation that occurred at the Chelsea versus Spurs game on Sunday evening. I'll read out the statement now. So the statement reads: "The Premier League and our clubs will not tolerate discrimination in any form. If people are found to racially abuse Chelsea's Antonio Rudiger or Tottenham Hotspur's Son Heung-min, they deserve to be punished. We will support Tottenham Hotspur FC and Chelsea FC in their pursuit of any perpetrators and call for appropriate action to be taken by the authorities and the clubs. We appreciate the millions of supporters who helped create a positive Premier League matchday atmosphere and have made it clear that racist conduct or language is unacceptable. The Premier League uses a protocol specifically designed to support players, managers, and match officials who believe they are being subjected to discriminatory abuse during a match. This protocol is intended to ensure that abuse is stopped and offenders dealt with efficiently by clubs and police." Now, it certainly spurred a massive debate. As I said on the last episode a couple of days ago, it was a major talking point on Sky Sports, and it's still been a major talking point ever since. The Premier League, it was very surprising that it's took this long for the Premier League to bring out a statement, considering I would have thought they would have brought a statement out not long after the match, but they didn't bring anything out. And it's interesting to see what the Premier League do from here, because not much has really happened. There was incidents that happened, I think, at the Manchester derby, and nothing was really said about that. There's incidents that have happened now between Spurs and Chelsea, and it seems like it gets swept under the rug quite a bit. I mean, Gary Neville talked about how it was to do with the politicians, and it's not just to do with fans. And he kind of does has a point. He has a very big point, and it's caused a major debate. Obviously, we have the organisation Kick It Out, which, fair play to them, do as much work as they possibly can, and have offered support to Rudiger if needed. But it's very worrying times. But it's hard because racism is a massive debate, and I don't really want to get into the topic in itself because we'll be here all day. But it'll be interesting to see how the Premier League sort this, because more and more issues seem to be appearing about racism and not much seems to be getting done about it, which is a real shame. But that is the Top Corner European Roundup show for today. Now, there isn't going to be an episode on Christmas Day, purely because I'm going to take that day off. I can't see there being a great deal of news, but they are, of course, the Boxing Day fixtures that will be happening the day after, and I think it's just nice for everybody to spend a bit of time with their family. Of course, at the end of every episode, if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at _top corner. If you want to follow our Facebook page, simply search The Top Corner on Facebook. And if you want to join us on Instagram for the latest news, it's the _top corner blog. And of course, the schedule, as always, every day, the European Roundup Show is available at 9 a.m. UK time on YouTube. We'll have our Top Corner podcast, which is back on the 8th of January, 1:15, 3:15. And on the 31st of January, we'll have Transfer Deadline Day live. More news as we get closer to the date. So if you're new to the channel, please do leave a like, do leave a subscription, and leave your thought, of course, to the news that we've talked about today. It'll be interesting to know some of your opinions to what has gone on in the news over the last 24 hours. But have a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy it, spend your time with your family, and we'll see you on Boxing Day. Goodbye.